Ciao ragazzi, and welcome to the Air Meta series, where we take a look at each HOI4 major and figure out the best plane designs for it. This week we're setting our sights on the cute little runt of the Axis, Italy. Italy's army and industrial base have a certain reputation, but when it comes to air power, things are pleasantly surprising. You have the most MEOs in the game, some pretty nice national focuses, and one of the strongest air advisors, which gives you lots of flexibility and an opportunity to make an impact. But before we get to all of that, let's quickly cover doctrines. 9 times out of 10, you should be going for operational integrity, as it gives the highest mission efficiency for your fighters and some nice bonuses for tactical bombers. Battlefield support is an interesting choice if you choose to build multi-roles, and we'll take a look at those in a bit. Now, your industry is not fantastic and you need to make the best use of what you have. So let's begin with some tips on what to do from 1936 to 39. Italy can get some air experience pretty early in the game. You do start at war with Ethiopia and you have just over 700 airplanes at your disposal, so send them out on close air support missions as you conquer East Africa. Additionally, you can go for the air innovations focus that adds 25 air experience and takes only 35 days to complete, and you can get another 25 from expanding the Rome Flying School. So when you finish the war and research these two techs, you can start converting the existing aircraft you have to some more powerful and useful models and design new ones to produce until you reach the all-important 1940 airframes. The 300 CR-32 light fighters you have can be modified like so, and they will serve as decent defensive fighters later on. I wouldn't waste 5 XP on old aircraft to assign a MEO to it and get no bonuses, but you can choose a MEO when you start converting these to get funds for that respective company. I recommend leveling up Fiat Aviazione first and foremost, as it is possibly the strongest MEO for medium aircraft in the game. Remember, to convert planes, you need to put them in your stockpile and press this button right here. Now, you also have some tactical bombers that can be upgraded. The CA-101, based on an old airframe, can get extra fuel tanks instead of the defense turret, and you can put some bomb locks on top for some extra ground attack. Don't touch the engines here, as it will make the conversions very costly. You also have some bombers on a 1936 airframe, so take the SM-79 model and put 2 small bomb bays up top, and do the same swap from a defensive turret to extra range at the bottom, then continue to convert using Fiat as a MEO. Now, what about designing new aircraft? If you're in multiplayer, figure out whether you or the Germans will build scouts. Both of you can spy easily on Britain and France before the war starts. For the UK, you can put scouts in Egypt or over Malta, and you will still get an intel bonus. You don't need to spy over the mainland here. Here's a nice scout model that you can put a couple of mils on early on and use it for the rest of the game. Build it on a 1936 medium airframe with 1 recon module, dual cheap engines, and a couple of extra range modules at the bottom. Harassing the allies in the Mediterranean is also a good idea, so producing naval bombers is something to consider early on. Here you keep it cheap and simple, with a 36 light airframe, small torpedo module up top, and drop tanks plus extra range to finish it off. The third and last plane I would build is a 1936 heavy fighter with 4 quad MGs up top and dual light MG defense turrets at the bottom. After you upgrade the Fiat Aviazione MEO, this thing will get even more air attack and up to 65% more range, so you will be able to use these in Egypt and in the Eastern Front when the war kicks in. Of course, you can still design the cheaper light fighters and use Fiat Aviazione for funds, but the bonuses for medium airframes are just better on this specific company. By 1939, if you liked the video and took the magic mushroom at the start, you might start seeing Mussolario asking you for help.
Wow.
Apparently, Princess H has been kidnapped by the Bowser of capitalism and he wants to save her. He doesn't care for planes though, only for the kart meta. So if he asks, mention the teddy buggy, rollers, and cloud glider combo and tell him to get. Where were we? Oh, 1940 airframes. Because Italy has such a great MEO in Fiat Aviazione and a rather restricted industry, you are really incentivized to build medium aircraft in the current meta. This allows you to project air power across the Mediterranean and Egypt with 100% mission efficiency, and when the time comes to invade the Soviet Union, you can help the Germans by using airfields further back so things don't get cramped. For these reasons, I will recommend 4 types of planes to build for the majority of the game. The first one is a heavy fighter with a full stack of quad heavy MGs at the top, dual engine 3, and dual plus single heavy MG defense turrets to finish it off. This is a fantastic model with incredible air attack, decent defense, and fantastic range. Because you're using Fiat as MEO, you get 60% extra range, meaning that you don't need to waste space for range increasing slots at the bottom, allowing you to go for firepower and air defense. In fact, you can even get 5% more range when you get the National Spirit from the focus tree. This model is amazing and should be the main plane to build throughout the game. Secondly, we have tactical bombers, and this is what I would go for. A medium bomb bay, 2 small ones, heavy bomb locks up top, dual engine 3 at the bottom, plus the optional bomb sights and radio navigation. These tactical bombers are not the best for ground attack, as you and the Germans can build casks with more of that stat, but they still come with amazing range at a semi-decent price. I've put bomb sights and radio navigation because you can even do strategic bombing with them, as Fiat gives you plus 30% in that department, and operational integrity, the doctrine, gives you some nice bonuses as well. So you end up with close to 25 strat bombing, which is pretty good for a tactical bomber. Of course, if you don't plan to do strat bombing, you can remove these and save 3 IC per plane, but I suggest you explore the virtues of strategic bombing. For example, you can use strat bombing to damage enemy airports from afar. So the defending fighters get a huge overstacking penalty because you reduce the capacity of the airport, which allows you to obtain air superiority very easy. Aside from that, the third and last model I would build using operational integrity would be a naval bomber built on a 1940 light airframe. Now, if you have leveled up Fiat, it's worth noting that you'll get a 10% penalty to naval attack, although you will still get increased range, which might be worth it. Still, if you can't afford it and you want to, you can level up Maki as a secondary MEO and put the 1940 naval bombers on it. As far as the design goes, use the best torpedo module and engine you have, then add range to taste. Naval air zones are bigger, so having more range is good, and to be honest, floats don't do that much. Lastly, let's talk multi-roles. As you might know, these can be quite deadly, especially with Italy, as you can build multi-roles on a medium airframe. For these, you substitute one of the heavy MGs with rocket rails up top. This frees up a lot of weight, which you can then use to slap additional heavy MG defense turrets at the bottom, allowing for amazing air defense and attack with great range. These things can demolish Spitfires at a ratio of 3:1 and are actually better than light multi-roles, as you can destroy a lot more aircraft compared to the IC you lose. Still, multi-roles can suffer a lot against ground-based AA, as they are made to work on the close air support mission exclusively, which means that you also need to send them over land regions where there are land battles going. Otherwise, they won't work. You'll have to use air superiority or interception, and there you will lose because you will have lower mission efficiency. In other words, as powerful as multi-roles are, the strategy has weaknesses, so use them wisely in multiplayer. In single player, you can absolutely go crazy with these. To make multi-roles work, you need to go down the battlefield support doctrine path and choose continuous strike as Spirit of the Air Force. Last but not least, don't forget to choose Ettore Mutti as your military high command advisor, as all of your ground troops will get fantastic bonuses to their stats as long as they receive air support and some ground attack. Now, some of you may ask whether you can go for light aircraft with Italy, and the answer is absolutely. You have 7 friggin' MEOs at your disposal, so there's a lot you can do with Italy. And if you want to see more meta designs you can use, feel free to check my guide for Germany, as the light planes I recommend there will work perfectly fine for Italy easily as well. Thanks a lot for watching. Please leave a like and a subscribe if you appreciate my work, and I'll see you all